Hi, I'm Maya, and in today's episode of the Fluent English Frontier podcast, I'm going to help you unlock one of the most powerful tools in English learning, building clear, correct, and fluent sentences from scratch. Have you ever tried speaking after learning phrases and vocabulary you thought were essential, but then you suddenly freeze up because you don't know how to construct a proper sentence with them? You're not alone. A lot of learners know what to say, but not how to put it all together. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to do that. You'll be able to build all kinds of sentences using everyday vocabulary. You'll speak more confidently, express yourself clearly, and avoid that awkward pause where you're thinking, wait, how do I say this right? You'll also learn how subjects and verbs work together, why singular verbs have an S, and how to combine words into fluent, natural sentences. Make sure to subscribe to Fluent English Frontier to help learners like you find us. Turn on the notification bell so you can be first to receive a notification about every new episode. Also leave us a comment, and share this with a friend who needs it. We're building a world of confident English speakers. All right, let's begin. First, let's talk about what a sentence actually is. A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. It starts with a capital letter and ends with a full stop. That's a period, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. But grammar-wise, a sentence must have at least a subject is and a verb is. That's the basic structure. Sometimes you'll have an object is too. Let's define those parts clearly. The subject is who or what the sentence is about. It performs the action. The verb is the action or the state of being. The object is the person or thing that receives the action. Let's look at an easy example. I like pizza. I is the subject. That's the person doing the action. Like is the verb. It's the action of having a preference. Pizza is the object. It's the thing that is liked. So again, I, subject, like, verb, pizza, object. This is a clear, simple sentence with a complete thought. You could stop right here and already be doing great. Now let's try a different sentence. She eats rice. Here, she is the subject, the one doing the eating. Eats is the verb. That's the action. Rice is the object. It's what she eats. Now notice, the verb here has an S at the end. Eats. Why? Because in the present simple tense, when the subject is singular and in third person, like he, she, or it, we add an S to the verb. It's a common mistake for learners to say, she eat rice. But that's incorrect. She eats rice is correct. The S doesn't mean it's plural. In fact, it shows that it's singular third person. Let's try a question now. Do you like coffee? In this sentence, you is the subject, do is the auxiliary verb we use to form questions in the present simple, and like is the main verb. Coffee is the object. So it goes. Subject, you. Auxiliary, do. Verb, like. Object, coffee. See? You're already learning how to build solid English sentences. We'll continue this step by step, and very soon you'll be able to express almost anything you want fluently and confidently. All right, let's go deeper with sentence patterns so you can start building your own using everyday vocabulary. Remember, the core of every sentence is subject and verb, but we can also add objects, adjectives, adverbs, and prepositions to make our sentences more meaningful and descriptive. Let's take this simple sentence. He drinks water. He is the subject, drinks is the verb, and water is the object. Subject, he, verb, drinks, object, water. It's clear and complete. Now let's expand that. How about he drinks cold water every morning? We just added two things, cold and every morning. Cold is an adjective describing the noun water. Every morning is a time expression or adverbial phrase that tells us when. The structure now is subject, he, verb, drinks, object, cold water, adverbial phrase, every morning. Beautiful! That's how we start building fluency. Now, here's another one. They play football. Subject, they, verb, play, object, football. Simple, right? Let's upgrade it. They play football in the park every Saturday. Now we added a place, in the park, and a time, every Saturday. And just like that, you sound more natural and expressive. Let's break another one down. My sister cooks. Subject, my sister, verb, cooks. No object yet, but it's still a valid sentence. Now let's complete it. My sister cooks delicious meals for her children. Delicious is the adjective describing meals. For her children is a prepositional phrase telling us who receives the action. So we have subject, my sister, verb, cooks, object, delicious meals, prepositional phrase, for her children. Now that's a full picture. Here's a quick tip. Anytime you're learning new vocabulary, try plugging the words into sentence patterns like this. It trains your brain to use words in real conversation. So don't just memorize study, use it in a full sentence, like, I study English at night. Or even better, I study English at night because I'm free then. That's how fluency starts to grow, from small seeds into strong sentences. We'll keep expanding this, and I'll show you how to connect sentences together soon. You're doing fantastic. Now, let's look at how to combine multiple ideas into one sentence. This is a big step toward fluency, and it's actually easier than it sounds. We do this by using conjunctions, words like and, but, because, so, or. These words help us link ideas smoothly and make our sentences longer and more expressive. Let's start simple. I like tea. That's one sentence. And then, I like coffee, also a sentence. Now combine them. I like tea and coffee. See, the conjunction and links the two objects, tea and coffee. Easy win. Let's try another. She is tired. She went to work early. Now combine them using because. She is tired because she went to work early. Here's the breakdown. She is the subject. Is the verb. Tired is the complement. Then we added because, and the second idea, she went to work early, has she as the subject, went as a verb, to work early as the rest. You're now using compound sentences. Congratulations! Let's try another with but. He studied hard. He failed the test. Let's combine them. He studied hard, but failed the test. We dropped the second subject because it's the same person. Subject, he, verb, studied, and then but failed. You see how but shows contrast? English is full of these clues. Another one. I'm learning English. I want a better job. Combine with because. I'm learning English because I want a better job. It's direct, real, and useful in everyday conversation. Let's go a little further. What if we want to give more detail about the time, place, or reason something happens? That's where adverbial clauses come in. Don't worry, I'll explain it simply. Take this. I eat before I go to work. Here, before I go to work is a clause. It has a subject I and a verb go, but it doesn't stand alone. It adds meaning to the verb eat. So it tells us when something happens. That's what adverbial clauses do. They add time, reason, condition, or contrast. Another one, I'll call you when I arrive. When I arrive is the adverbial clause subject I, verb arrive, and it modifies the verb call. You're probably already using these and didn't realize it. Let's try one more together. He won't go out unless it stops raining. Unless it stops raining is the condition. It controls whether he'll go out. Unless is a conditional word. Subject he, verb go out. Then in the condition, subject it, verb stops. This is how we add depth to our ideas. You're really building the tools now. We're going to explore more of these connecting strategies in the next section, but first I want you to take a breath, smile, and say out loud, I can speak fluently, step by step. Because yes, you absolutely can. You can take simple words and turn them into powerful, clear sentences that express what you feel, what you want, and what you need. So let's do this together, step by step. First, we need to understand what a sentence really is. A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. It always begins with a capital letter and ends with a punctuation mark like a period, question mark, or exclamation point. But what makes up a sentence? At its core, a sentence has two essential parts, the subject and the predicate. Let me explain. The subject is the part that tells us who or what the sentence is about. The predicate tells us what the subject does or is. And the most important part of the predicate? The verb. So think of it this way. A subject plus a verb equals a sentence. Let's take an example. Birds fly. Birds is the subject. It tells us who the sentence is about. Fly is the verb. It tells us what the birds do. The sentence expresses a full idea. Now let's try a longer one. My brother eats pizza. The subject is my brother. The verb is eats, and pizza is the object. It's the thing being eaten. Let's break it down. My brother is the subject because he is doing the action. Eats is the verb, the action word. Pizza is the object, the thing the action is being done to. That's a complete sentence. Now here's something important to know. In English, verbs must agree with their subjects. This is called subject-verb agreement. If the subject is singular, the verb must be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. For example, she likes apples. She is singular, so the verb is likes with an S. But they like apples. They is plural, so the verb doesn't have an S. And here's the tricky part for many learners. Why does the singular verb have the S, not the plural? I get it. It feels backward. But that's just how standard English works. So, he plays. She sings. It rains. But we play. They sing. You run. Understanding this helps you speak with accuracy and confidence. And yes, you're doing great. Now let me give you a few more examples. The dog barks. The dog is the subject. Barks is the verb. It's singular, so the verb ends in S. The dogs bark. Now the subject is plural, dogs, so the verb is bark with no S. See that switch? It's all about matching. Subject and verb must agree. That's sentence harmony. Don't worry, we'll keep practicing together. You're already building strong foundations. Now, in the next part, we'll explore the 4 types of sentences in English and how to use them in everyday speaking. All right, now that you understand what a sentence is and how subject and verb must agree, let's go a step further. Did you know that not all sentences are the same? In English, we have 4 basic types of sentences, and each one serves a different purpose. Let's explore them together. First, the declarative sentence. This is the most common type. It gives information or makes a statement. For example, I love learning English. Let's break it down. I is the subject, love is the verb, learning English is the object. This sentence simply gives a fact or shares a thought. Second, we have the interrogative sentence. That means a question. For example, do you speak English? Do is the auxiliary verb, you is the subject, speak is the main verb, and English is the object. Interrogative sentences often start with helping verbs like do, does, did, or question words like what, where, how, and why. Third, we have the imperative sentence. These are commands or requests. For example, please sit down. Sit is the verb. The subject, you, is understood even though it's not written, so we say it's an implied subject. Imperative sentences tell someone what to do. And finally, the exclamatory sentence. These show strong feelings. For example, what a beautiful day. These sentences often begin with words like what or how and always end with an exclamation mark. They express emotions like joy, surprise, anger, or excitement. Now let's play with this. I'll take the same idea and show it in all 4 sentence types using the phrase eat breakfast. Declarative. I eat breakfast every morning. I is the subject, eat is the verb, breakfast is the object. Interrogative. Do you eat breakfast every morning? Do is the auxiliary verb, you is the subject, eat is the main verb. Imperative. Eat your breakfast now. The subject you is implied, eat is the verb, your breakfast is the object. Exclamatory. What a delicious breakfast this is. What is the exclamation starter. This is the subject. Is the verb. Makes you hungry, right? See how powerful that is? Just by changing the structure slightly, you can express different intentions and emotions. That's what makes English both flexible and beautiful. Now that you understand the types of sentences, we'll move forward to learn how to build longer, richer sentences by adding more details like adjectives, adverbs, and prepositional phrases. Now, let's take everything we've learned so far, subjects, verbs, objects, sentence types, and begin expanding our sentences. Because one-word answers won't take you far in a real conversation, right? Let's start with adjectives. These are words that describe nouns. For example, I have a car. That's a clear declarative sentence. I is the subject, have is the verb, and a car is the object. But now watch this. I have a red car. Red is an adjective. It gives more detail about the noun car. See how that makes your sentence more vivid? Let's try another one. She bought a dress. Now add an adjective. She bought a beautiful dress. She is the subject. Bought is the verb. A beautiful dress is the object phrase. And beautiful is the adjective adding flavor to the noun dress. Now, on to adverbs. These describe verbs, adjectives, or even other adverbs. Example: he runs. Basic, right? Subject he, verb runs. Now, let's add an adverb. He runs quickly. Quickly tells us how he runs. That's much clearer. You can also say, he runs very quickly, where very is an adverb modifying another adverb quickly. Adverbs often answer the questions how, when, where, and to what extent. Let's try some. They arrived early. She speaks softly. We'll go outside. He completely forgot. All of those adverbs add detail to the action. Let's go even further with prepositional phrases. These give location, direction, time, or show relationships. For example, the book is on the table. On is the preposition. The table is the object of the preposition. The whole phrase tells us where the book is. Another one. She walked through the park. Through is the preposition. The park is the object. Through the park tells us where she walked. These extra parts, adjectives, adverbs, and prepositional phrases, are like seasoning in cooking. Without them, your sentences are bland. With them, your language becomes rich and delicious. Now, let's put them all together. Ready? Here's a basic sentence. He reads books. Subject, he. Verb, reads. Object, books. Now, let's expand it. He usually reads interesting books at night. Usually is an adverb. Interesting is an adjective. At night is a prepositional phrase. You see how we went from a simple idea to a fully flavored sentence? Up next, we'll start combining sentences using connectors, so you can create longer, more advanced thoughts without losing fluency. All right, now let's learn how to connect sentences smoothly using conjunctions. This is where your English really begins to flow, like water instead of blocks. You're about to sound way more fluent. First, let's talk about coordinating conjunctions. These are words like and, but, or, so, yet, and for. They connect words, phrases, or even whole sentences that are equal in structure. Let's start small. I like tea. I like coffee. We can combine them. I like tea and coffee. Now it flows better. Here's another. She was tired. She kept working. Combine them. She was tired, but she kept working. But shows contrast. Let's do one more. He studied hard. He passed the exam. Now, he studied hard, so he passed the exam. So shows cause and effect. Now, let's move to subordinating conjunctions. These help us add extra information and create more complex sentence structures. Words like because, although, if, when, while, and since. Example: I didn't go out, it was raining. Combine them. I didn't go out because it was raining. Because introduces the reason. Another one. Although she was nervous, she gave a great speech. Although shows contrast, just like but it's used to join a dependent clause with an independent one. And here's one with time. When I arrived, they had already left. The word when introduces the time clause. You see, by using these connectors, you move from robotic-sounding English to real human flowing conversation. And there's more. Let's talk about compound and complex sentences. A compound sentence has two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction, like, I love music and I play the guitar. Both sides could stand alone. Complex sentence has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause, like I play the guitar because I love music. Because I love music cannot stand alone. It depends on the other part to make sense. Let's break one down. Although it was late, we kept talking. Although it was late is a dependent clause. It has a subject, it, and verb, was, but doesn't stand on its own. We kept talking is the independent part. So now you know how to join ideas together in a logical, fluent way. You're not just making sentences, you're expressing full thoughts with purpose and style. Now that you've learned how to connect sentences smoothly, let's take it a step further and talk about asking questions and making negative sentences. These are crucial for real-life conversations. After all, you don't just make statements, you also ask, disagree, or clarify. Let's start with questions. There are two main types, yes, no questions and WH questions. A yes, no question can be answered with yes or no. To form this, we usually move the auxiliary verb to the front. For example, you are tired becomes are you tired? Let's break it down. You is the subject, are is the verb. In the question, are comes before the subject. Another one, she can drive becomes can she drive? Can is the auxiliary verb, she is the subject, drive is the main verb. What about if there's no auxiliary verb in the original sentence? Then we use do, does, or did. Example, they play football becomes do they play football? They is the subject, play is the verb, do is added to form the question. One more, he likes apples becomes does he like apples? Notice that likes becomes like after does is added. This is important. Never keep the S after adding does. Now for WH questions. These begin with words like what, where, when, why, how, and who. Example, what do you want? What is the question word? Do is the helping verb. You is the subject. And want is the main verb. Where does she live? Where is the question word. Does helps form the question. She is the subject. Live is the main verb. Got it? Now let's go to negative sentences. These are sentences where we say something is not true. To form a negative, we use not with an auxiliary verb. For example, I am happy becomes I am not happy. Am is the verb, and we add not after it. Another, she is singing becomes she is not singing. Again, is the verb, and not makes it negative. For simple present or past, use do not, does not, or did not. Example, they play football becomes they do not play football. Subject, they, verb, play, negative helper, do not. One more, he eats rice becomes he does not eat rice. Eats becomes eat after does not. That's because the S is already handled by does. So whether you're asking a question or saying something negative, you now know how to structure it the right way. Now it's time to bring everything together through real-world examples and sentence-building practice. This is where your fluency really starts to take shape. Let's start with a simple sentence. She reads. Now let's expand it. Add a time expression. She reads every morning. Then add more details. She reads English books every morning before work. See how that becomes fuller and more natural? Now let's turn that into a question. Does she read English books every morning before work? Boom! You've just made a fluent, grammatically correct question. You're on fire! Let's try another. They are cooking. Add a location. They are cooking in the kitchen. Now let's expand it with a reason. They are cooking dinner in the kitchen because their friends are visiting tonight. Change it to a question. Are they cooking dinner in the kitchen because their friends are visiting tonight? Change it to negative. They are not cooking dinner in the kitchen because their friends are not visiting tonight. Look at you go! Let's do a few more rapid-fire transformations, okay? I watch TV. Now expand. I watch TV at night when I'm tired. Question. Do I watch TV at night when I'm tired? Negative. I do not watch TV at night when I'm tired. Another one. He drives. Expanded. He drives to work every day at 8 a.m. Question. Does he drive to work every day at 8 a.m.? Negative. He does not drive to work every day at 8 a.m. One more. They study. Expanded. They study English together after class. Question. Do they study English together after class? Negative. They do not study English together after class. These transformations are your superpower. You're no longer stuck with basic phrases. You're crafting full, meaningful sentences that sound fluent and confident. Now, we'll go into shadowing practice. Yes, you'll repeat after me, and I'll guide you through building your speaking rhythm, confidence, and natural sentence flow. Stick around. You don't want to miss it, because this is where everything clicks into place. You'll listen to me, then repeat exactly how I say it. Don't just say the words. Match my rhythm, my tone, my emotion. Ready? Let's do this. Repeat after me. I wake up early every day. Now again. I wake up early every day. Feel the rhythm? Let's go deeper. I wake up early every day so I can exercise before work. One more time. I wake up early every day so I can exercise before work. Next one. She loves reading novels. Again, she loves reading novels. Now, she loves reading novels because they help her relax. Repeat. She loves reading novels because they help her relax. Nice. Let's try a question now. Do you drink tea in the morning? Repeat. Do you drink tea in the morning? Now make it longer. Do you drink tea in the morning before going to school? Again, do you drink tea in the morning before going to school? Okay, your turn to try changing one. I'll say it simply, and you'll build it. I'll help. Start with, he studies. Now say, he studies at night. Add more. He studies at night when the house is quiet. Now try the question. Does he study at night when the house is quiet? And now the negative. He does not study at night when the house is quiet. Here's another. They play soccer. Add when. They play soccer every weekend. Add why. They play soccer every weekend to stay healthy. Now the question. Do they play soccer every weekend to stay healthy? Now the negative. They do not play soccer every weekend to stay healthy. Beautiful. Now, before we wrap up, let's do 5 quick shadowing drills to finish strong. Repeat after me quickly. I cook dinner at 7. I cook dinner at 7. I don't like loud music. I don't like loud music. Does he work on Sundays? Does he work on Sundays? We walk every evening. We walk every evening. They are learning English now. They are learning English now. These shadowing exercises train your brain to think in English, not just translate. You start feeling the language, speaking with confidence, and sounding natural. That's how fluency is built. You've come so far, from understanding sentence elements to expanding, transforming, and now confidently speaking full sentences. This is what real progress looks like. I'm proud of you. If you loved this lesson, make sure to subscribe to Fluent English Frontier. Leave a comment about what sentence you created today, and share this with a friend who needs it. We're building a world of confident English speakers, one sentence at a time. See you in the next video.